keer we komen hard. Je kan het niet bekennen, die pannenkoeken moeten dan deze nieuwe stijl brengen. Van het noorden naar het zuiden, van E-Town tot Rilva. Brengen wil je kruiden, concurreren met je silpa. We hangen in je buurt met een schoenen naar je lantaarnpaal. Dit is voor de gekkers, dus Ben en Jonas, dat doen normaal. Keer we brengen herrie, de buurt zijn nachtmerrie.
We're in Berlin.
Vraag het Larry, een plus ik ben je juice, net als de eerste film van Bakpao. Bloed is het lotjes, maar mijn flow zit in strak.
I am standing in front of the longest open-air art gallery in the world. However, this wall on which these artworks are applied is not just a canvas for art, it once was the famous Berlin Wall, dividing the capitalist West with the communist East. After serving as a prison warden for 38 years, the wall fell on November 9, 1989. And soon after that, the East German government allowed 118 artists to create their piece of art on this big wall. In this way, the artists were free to express their feelings about the fall of the Berlin Wall and about the world-changing events of 1989 and 1990. In this way, it became a celebration of freedom. One of these artists we see here, of the 118 artists that created artworks, is Jolly Kunjapu. He created this artwork, Dancing to Freedom. Kunjapu came to Germany when he was 20 years old. And in the spring of 1990, he was one of the artists that were allowed to create this art. We see two stickmen dancing with the sun in the middle. And the text below reads, "No more walls, a united world." And the text above states the title of the artwork, Dancing to Freedom. In an interview, the artist stated that creating his art on this piece of the Berlin Wall was a big privilege for him. He was determined to spread his message about freedom to the world by making art on this Berlin Wall. A fact contributing to his urge to spread this message was the fact that his wife spent a long time in DDR jail because she was seen as a suspect by the Gestapo. Kunjapu, being a musician himself, sees dancing as the ultimate form of freedom and acceptation between people. He is an ambassador for nature and world peace and is firmly against war and for unification of the world. Dancing to Freedom is the artist's perception of an ideal world. He tried to portray a higher spirit soul in the form of a human being dancing, with in the middle the sun in the colors of Germany and the German flag. The stickmen and human beings are not moving away from each other, but towards each other, showing these ideals of acceptance and unification and of people moving towards each other. Walking here on what once was the east side of Berlin is very impressive. I think we tend to forget the past very easily and we do not always realize the true cost of freedom. When Kunjapi was standing here in the spring of 1990 creating his artwork, it was only 1 year earlier that one would be shot dead for even standing here. Once the wall was a symbol of conflict and dividing of people, but now with all these artworks applied, it is really a celebration of freedom, and I really like that idea. Everything in this artwork is a sign of optimism towards a positive future. We see the bright colors the artist used and the movement of the dancing stickmen. Also the big dot in the middle with the colors of the German flag show cooperation between East and West Germany. However, this artwork is bigger than just the history of Germany. It is about us, the people. Because if we get along together and if we accept together, everybody can be free. And I think that is the true essence of this artwork. I really like the idea of the two stickmen dancing towards and with each other in freedom on this Berlin Wall. And because it is made on this Berlin Wall, it gains much more importance and the message is spread much stronger.
When traveling from the east at Gary towards our next stop, you come across the Alexanderplatz, which is where we are right now. And here you have one of the most famous Berlin city marks.
The Fernsehturm. It is 368 meters high. And it's a very beautiful place. You see this tower everywhere in Berlin. It's a real eye-catcher everywhere in the town, everywhere in the city, I must say. And I think it's very beautiful. Nice little square here. You can eat ice cream. We ate ice cream.
Yes.
Tasty. We just arrived at our second place for the trip after leaving the Zoologischer Garden metro station. This is the Kaiser-Wilhelm Gedächtniskirche or the Kaiser-Wilhelm Memorial Church. It was built in 1890 in a neo-Romanesque style. Many examples of the key elements of the Romanesque style, the neo-Romanesque style, are still visible in the leftovers of this Protestant church, with most visibly the semicircular arches and windows that are still visible. There's also other elements still present, like the thick bear-loading walls and many other elements. The church was badly damaged during the Second World War by an air bombing raid on November 23 in 1943. The remaining parts of the church that we can still see now are only the entrance hall, the bottom side, and the tower, of course. These destroyed parts of the church are got the nickname by the Berliners der Hohle Zahn, which means the hollow tooth. And the ground floor and the entry hall of the church now serve as a memorial place and also a memoriam where lost artifacts and the history of the church and the war are put on display. After the war in 1947, the curators of the Kaiser-Wilhelm Gedächtniskirche Foundation decided that the church shall be rebuilt, but the way in which it shall be done was decided in the 1950s by a design competition held for architects in 1956. This competition was won by the architect Egon Eiermann, who originally planned to destroy the remains of the spire and build a completely new church on the location where the original one stood. This, however, was criticized by the Berlin people, who called the old remains the heart of Berlin, and after a public outcry of them to keep the remains of the church, Eiermann decided to design a new plan. The baptistry and the altar of the church also originally survived, but Eiermann did tear these parts down in order to build the new church where I'm standing now. This new church is built in a whole different style. As you can see, it exists out of glass tiles, concrete and steel. And it's also spread around the original church in 4 locations. On the west side of the original memorial church is a new tower built, and behind me is the main church hall where the ceremonies are held and apparently also concerts, as seen on this flyer here. These new modernistic parts of the church are called Lippenstift und Puderdose in German by the Berlin people, meaning lipstick and powder box, because they look like a lipstick and a powder box.
Well, this is our next stop on our route. It's the famous Brandenburger Tor, the famous gate of the capital of Berlin. As you can see, it is really crowded here, but you can still enjoy it. Lots of people taking pictures. If you go to the right over there, it's the famous Reichstag. There the politics of Germany are, they are there. Okay. dat niet gezet?
We end our tour in the Mauerpark, which is located in the Prenzlauer Berg district. The land covering the park used to be part of the Daft strip, which was the area separating East from West Berlin. So after the reunification of West and East Berlin in 1990, local residents started to pick up on plant growth in the then sandy strip of land, which actually emerged the ideas of creating a park here. A while later, politicians started to pick up on this idea as well, and they actually added the Mauerpark as an option for the Olympics of 2000. This bid was unsuccessful, but the ideas of creating a park here remained. In 1993, the Hamburg landscape architect Gustav Lange designed the park, which was later realized by the Groen Berlin Park and Garten. Today the park consists of a large grass field with a hilly slopey side towards the east where it connects to the Friedrich Ludwig Jahn Sports Park. At the very top of this slope, a 300 meters long strip of the wall still stands, which is now completely covered in colorful artworks. We even got to see an artist working on his art right here, which you can see here. So as you can see, the park really embodies the idea of making what was once a border space into a free space for all kind of people to connect. All nationalities, all ages, everyone's welcome here. And if everyone's just chilling and listening to live music, making live music. There's karaoke shows in the weekend and flea markets, and well, the people really just liven up the place. Even though the park may have some muddy and sandy spots here and there, which does not really add to the aesthetics, the vibe here is immaculate and is really worth visiting. And we are going to enjoy our beer now.
Yeah. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap!
It's a wrap, guys. Oh, kut, die audio weer. Oh, dat staat erop.